talking and looking at some different ways to model or to show a fraction. So this is your title, Different Models to Represent or Show a Fraction. We've looked at actually many different ways to show a fraction. This will be a little bit of a review. And then we will spend a little time playing a new game.
Yay! Wait, is it the game?
It's not the game that we started. Nope, not partners. It will have to be played in partners. Yep, because they're here. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Right now, we gotta focus on this. I want you to circle that word represent. Raise your hand and tell me, what does that word represent mean? Get your title down, please. It's not written down. Will's the only one that knows what that word means. Oh, yeah. Yikes. Okay, you can choose to be upset about that, or you can choose to think about my question. You can choose to talk back, or you can choose to raise your hand. Choice is yours. Will, what do we think?
Like to show.
To show, yep. Yep. If I am using a model to represent, I'm really just talking about showing. Showing. So we actually know quite a few models. We've been seeing quite a few models of fractions. The first one is probably one you are most familiar with. It is not my most favorite. I don't recommend this model, but you've probably seen it and probably even used it. The circle model. A circle model. Mason, you are writing, please. A circle model is exactly what it sounds like. Your whole could have been like a pizza or maybe a pie, and it's represented as a circle.
Ooh, a circle.
Now, circle models are tricky because remember, fractions still have to show equal parts. So to use a circle model, Sean, we're facing this way, please. To use a circle model to show 1/2, well, that's easy. I can do that. To use a circle model to show a 1/4, splitting it up into 4 pieces, it gets a little trickier. I'm still going to have to start with a 1/2. But how would I make my 4 fourths? Where would my 4 pieces? Because right now I've only got 2 pieces and I want fourths. What do you think, Devin? Diagonal like this?
No.
No?
Go straight
Sideways, this way?
Yeah.
And that's really the only option that you have. Could I do 4 lines up and down?
Yeah, but no. You can go diagonal.
I could do kind of like an X situation here. Are hard. So we had our 1/4, if I shade in 1/4. That's my unit fraction. Some of you had some questions about unit fraction. It's just what I'm counting. In this one, I'm counting fourths. 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4. My unit fraction over here is 1/2, 1/2, 1/2. How would I draw 6? Very tricky. Harper, you think you figured it out?
Do what you did for the 1/4.
Okay, well, let me start first, put it in half. Okay, 6 are smaller than half, so I need at least a half. Okay, now what? So cut it in half again. Okay. Then what?
Then do a line diagonal. That's what I'm
So Harper is saying, oh no, never mind. What are you noticing now, Harper, that I've drawn it?
Not equal.
They're not equal sizes. We started out good. I think a half is a smart move, Harper. But we can't put it into fourths because that's going to cause it to be a bit unequal. And we want our fractions to be fair. Michael, you figured it out?
So I started with like just drawing an X.
Oh.
And then I put a line through the X.
Interesting.
Sideways.
Are all of these pieces now equal?
Yes.
Yes, they are. They are equal sized. So this is the same value as this one, the same value as this one, same value as this one. What's the unit fraction? What am I counting when I count those pieces? Logan? 1/6. Very good. Each of those pieces is worth 1/6. Now, Gwen, I noticed that you were like, well, no, they're still not super equal. That's because circle models are really hard to draw perfectly. It's just hard to do.
You can't draw anything.
It's very hard to do. So this is not my favorite model. I want to go down to a new subtitle. This is my favorite model. It is called an area model. Area is talking about the space inside, which makes sense because we're trying to cut up the space inside a shape. Area models could be squares or they could be rectangles. Either or, it doesn't matter. My favorite is a rectangle, but you can choose. What you thinking, Shelby? Quickly. If I wanted to make the unit fraction 1/2 using an area model, I could draw something like this. That is equal to 1/2. Could you draw another example of an area model showing 1/2? If you've got another way, give me a secret thumb. You've got another way to show 1/2. Give me that secret thumb. Bladen, what you got?
With a rectangle?
With a rectangle, yep.
I did it sideways.
Do you mean horizontal or do you mean diagonal?
Horizontal.
Horizontal. This also shows 1/2. You can just put it on my table, look. Yeah. Gwen, did you think of another way? Diagonal. You ever back to the very beginning when we first started looking at equal shares?
Like the brownie thing.
Uh-huh. And we had them all different pieces. All of those can show 1/2 as long as the area, the space it takes up, is worth the same. Sean, what'd you have?
I have another one.
Okay.
It looks like it's going this way, and I have a line down the middle.
Okay. Awesome. What about 1/4? How would I show 1/4, that fraction, using an area model? Henley, what do you think? Yep. So am I cutting it in half? Okay, so I'm going to cut it in half. That gives me halves. Now what? Diagonally? Like this? Horizontal? Horizontal? In half? I'm saying in half, Tinley, because I could draw it right here. Would that be fair?
Yes.
No, that would not be fair. Those are not fair-sized pieces.
Horizontally in the middle.
So I am saying to Tinley that we need to make sure we're saying it's a half. Because now I've got equal-ish, part of my drawing, size pieces. Lincoln, what would I call this piece right here?
1/4.
Yeah, that's my unit fraction. I would use that to count my pieces. 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 2 fish, blue fish, red fish. That is my unit. That's what I'm counting. Could I do fourths differently? Could I show it in a different way? Gwen, what do you think? Okay. Like this? I'm still cutting in half, and then half again, but just not horizontally, diagonally. That could work. What about something like this?
I know what you're talking about.
What if I do 1/2, and then each half I cut in half again? So this
Wow.
half I'm going to cut in half, and then this half I'm going to cut in half.
That's equal. That's four.
Four
Yeah.
equal parts.
I still am playing with 1/4. An area model could include other shapes. We talked about triangles and how to show equal shapes. We talked about a star, and you could even show equal shapes on a star. But these are our two main models. We do have fractions that can live on a number line, but we're not going to worry about those right now. Right now, we're going to look at circles and area models. I want you to turn the page, and I want you to also get out your math or your fraction pieces. All of these pieces came from the same whole. That means my one whole piece is going to be the same size and same area as 2 1/2 pieces. Go ahead and line up your 2 1/2 pieces right underneath your one whole. Yes, we're going to do it right underneath your one whole. No, not yet. So you should have one hole, and then right underneath it you've got your 2 1/2 pieces, just like this. Notice it's the exact same size, and it takes up the exact same amount of space. That tells me they are equal. This is what you're doing. Go ahead and see, are your thirds equal to your one whole piece? If you push together all 3 of your thirds, is it going to be the same length, same size as our one whole piece? Ashley? It's okay. It's okay. They don't have to be exact. It's okay. So Michael just realized, yeah, if I smush together all my thirds, they are the same size as my one whole. If you imagine every one of those strips started out as a one whole, right? When you colored it, it was all one whole. And then you cut it up. So all of these came from the same size whole. If they came from the same whole, we can compare them. It is not like one of them came from a hole that's 2 feet long and one of them came from a little hole. It's not like our small pizza versus large pizza. You can't compare those. They didn't come from the same size. So we're going to be able to use our fraction pieces to compare these different pieces. I want you to write on your next blank page 1/2 versus 1/4. Nope, don't put your pieces up. We're going to need them. But on the next blank page, you're going to write 1/2 versus 1/4. All right, I want you to find your 1/2 piece. So here's my 1/2 piece. That's what I'm shading in. I got 1/2. And then right underneath it, I'm going to measure my 1/4 piece. And I'm going to see, which one is going to be larger? So I have 1/2. And now I'm trying to compare it and see, which one is larger. Which one gives me a bigger piece? What do you think?
I think 1/2 you're right.
1/2 gets me a bigger piece. Why does 1/2 get me a larger piece? Why does 1/2 get me a bigger piece? Sean, what are you thinking?
Because 1/4 is only 1/4 of an entire whole. Meanwhile, 1/2 is only 1/2 only 1/2 of it.
And if I think about sharing something, would I rather share it with 2 people and get half of it?
No.
Or would I rather share it with 4 people and get a fourth? If I'm sharing with more people, what's going to happen to my piece?
You're gonna get smaller.
I'm going to get smaller if I share with more people.
This is what our would you rather.
That is what our would you rather is. All right, let's try this one. Ooh, it's a little trickier. 2/3 versus 1/8. 2/3 versus 1/8. Which one do you think is gonna be bigger? 2/3 versus 1/8. What are you thinking, Michael?
Which one's gonna be bigger?
Uh-huh.
2/3.
Why do you think 2/3 is gonna be bigger?
Because it's 2/3 and the numbers are like smaller. So like, because if 1/8 is like this small, so that means like the more you cut it up, the smaller the pieces get.
Okay, so Michael knows 1/8 is gonna be a really small piece. And if I'm sharing something with thirds, that's gonna be way bigger than 1/8. And guess what? I don't have 1/3.
I have 2/3.
I have 2/3. Look how big 2/3 is. It is over half of my whole. It's so much.
Really?
But look at my 1/8 piece. Look at my 1/8 piece.
And I got so tiny.
That's so small. Notice when I'm using thirds, I'm not stacking them like this. It's hard to see, but I'm not stacking them on top of each other, Will. I'm stacking them side by side to make it a little easier to see length. So, I've got, here's my hole. I split that top one into thirds. This time, I'm going to shade in 2/3 because I have 2 1/3 pieces. And then my bottom one, I have 8.
We'll write that.
If I am writing, you are writing. Whoa, look how tiny that piece is. And that makes sense. Michael explained if I am sharing something between 3 people, I'm definitely going to get more than if I'm sharing something between 8 people. Because my piece would have to be smaller. While you're putting your pieces back, I'm going to go over the rules of our game. Lincoln, turn around, please. I'm going to give you some fraction cards. Instead of showing what it's worth, it's just going to be the numbers. So it's just going to say the number 1/8 or 2/3. You are going to be playing War. Raise your hand if you've ever played War with a card game. War? What is the point of playing War? How do you win in War? Does anyone know? Layden?
How to get all their cards.
How do you get their cards?
So you put a card down, and whichever one is better, you get it. But if it's the same,
Yeah.
you do war. You put 4 cards down, you pick one. Whichever one is better, they get all the cards.
Are you saying better? Are you saying better?
Bigger.
Bigger. Yes. So what we're going to do is you're going to have your fraction cards, just like number cards. I'm concerned that some people are not listening to my directions. You are going to be playing War to see which number is larger. I want you building them with your fraction pieces so you know. You're going to keep track instead of taking your cards like in traditional war. We're just going to keep track with points to see how many rounds that you win. So if Devin and I are playing and I roll down or put down a 1/2 and she puts down a 1/8, I know that I win because 1/2 is definitely bigger than 1/8. I'm not going to take her cards. I'm going to just give myself a point and then we're going to go on to the next one.
Are you going to give your hand up, Patrick?